everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Bookmas. So I am posting one video every single day up until Christmas. I will leave a playlist for all these videos down below so that you can go and check out the rest of them. I don't know which order I'm posting these in, so I don't know what Bookmas number this is, but you can find all the rest of them in the playlist. So please go and check it out if you want to, and subscribe for more videos from me. So today I wanted to talk about my favourite debuts of 2021 because I love supporting debut authors. It's kind of my thing. I've been doing the debut author challenge for absolute years. Started doing my own this year, I think it was, maybe last year, and I've also been doing a feature called Debut Showcase on either my blog or on my booktube channel. It depends where I feel like posting. So there are some authors here who released a book for the first time in 2021, and it's probably a really terrible year for them to be doing that. Not only have they been dealing with the situation that's going on in the world, but they are also dealing with a shortage, like paper shortage, transport shortage, delivery shortage, all of the shortages. So it's just really bad luck. So I really wanted to highlight some of my favourite debuts of the year, to highlight them and give them more publicity so you guys can check them out if you want to. I have 10 here to talk about today, so let's get started. First of all, we have Fat Chance Charlie Vega. This is a YA contemporary book which I gave 3.5 stars. This is about Charlie, who is plus sized. She is overweight and she is constantly being nagged by family members to lose it, and she is told that she is too big. So trigger warnings obviously for fat phobia and fat shaming. It's basically about her trying to navigate through all of that and also deal with not knowing too much about her Latinx heritage. I really enjoyed it when I read it. It was a very fast read and the author is honestly a delight to follow on Twitter, so I would highly recommend doing that if you want to. Then we have Happily Ever Afters by Elise Bryant. I gave this one 4 stars. This is about a main character, a female. She's a teenager. I probably should have said this is YA contemporary. So the main character wants to join an arty sort of school because she wants to be a writer, except she's in this huge writing slump, and then she meets various people there, the most prominent being the kind of like bad boy. I can't remember what his like artistic skill is, and then also this really cute cupcake boy who is literally a baker and he wins awards for his baking because he's just that good. And I loved their friendship so much. I think it was absolutely lovely and adorable. For a debut, this is just such a strong one. It also has some disability wrapped in there. I can't remember if it's ever stated, but I think the main character's brother maybe has cerebral palsy or autism or both. Can't exactly remember, so please go and check out either my review or someone else's review on Goodreads to get what the actual rep is. Either way, the rep in this one is fantastic. The main character is also mixed race, so she's dealing with that as well. Highly recommend picking this one up if you like YA contemporaries. Then we have Shipped by Angie Hockman, which I've done a full review for on my channel. I'll leave it linked up above if I remember. I gave this one 5 stars. I absolutely loved it and I wasn't expecting to. So this is about a main character who has a workplace rival. They work for a travel agency, so they go on this cruise to kind of figure out how to promote it because it's within their company. And then they get closer and closer, and then they realise that their boss is an asshole and they're both going for the same promotion. And this is the kind of hate to love romance that I really enjoy. So it's based on more a misunderstanding at the beginning rather than actual hatred for each other, which some books that I'm not going to mention here did really poorly because the characters in that were just spiteful. But these ones were actually lovely, and it made sense when they were being awful because of things that were going on and their boss manipulating them or just being a dick. And I also love the setting, so it's set in the Galapagos Islands. I love this book so much, would highly recommend it. Next we have something a little bit different, and it's an adult thriller. It's called Every Last Fear by Alex Finlay. So there was a rumour going around that he was actually same person as AJ Finn, and I don't think that's correct. I don't know if this has like hurt his reputation or not, but maybe people should stop saying that if it's not correct, because that's not very nice for him, because AJ Finn is a bit of a horrible person, let's say. This is actually a really good thriller. It follows someone whose entire family dies in Mexico, I think it is. And I have to say, the Mexican rep in this one is not fantastic. I disagreed with some parts of it. So go into this knowing that the author perhaps doesn't handle certain representation properly. Anyway, the main character's family dies, and then it follows him helping out a detective, I believe, trying to figure out what exactly went on and what his family were involved in, because there was something weird going on there. I gave this one 4 stars. It was a very fast-paced thriller. I liked the writing for the most part, and I really enjoyed the mystery, so I would highly recommend this one too. Then we have Mina and the Undead, which is a YA paranormal set in New Orleans, and I think it's set in the 90s, which is a very unique setting for me. I don't read many books set in the 90s as like historical. If they are books that are set in the 90s, they would normally be written in the 90s, whereas this is not the case, this one. This one's about vampires, which is really cool, and I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being back in the world of, or the realm of YA paranormal. It's something that I've realised that I'm not reading enough of because there aren't too many of those books coming out nowadays. It's mainly fantasy or thrillers, as you know. But I really enjoyed this one. It's also getting a sequel as well, which is coming out next year, I think. So I'd recommend checking it out if you're into YA paranormal, and it also has some really good friendships and family relationships in there as well, which I really like. Then we have The End of Men, which I think is my lowest rated. Oh, I rated Mina and the Undead 4 stars. I can't remember if I said that. The End of Men I gave 3 stars. I think it's the lowest rated debut on this list, but it's still good. It's an apocalyptic book, and in this setting there is a virus that wipes out most men, like people who are biologically male, and it's kind of showing not necessarily most of the aftermath, but it's showing like the build up to how this happens, how it spreads, and how it affects certain characters. We also find out where the virus originated from, which is something I really appreciate in apocalyptic books because quite often they don't explain it, but I really like knowing the history and the background of viruses. I don't know why, it's just always been a thing, not just because of 2020. Next we have Where the Rhythm Takes You, which I gave 4.5 stars. It's another YA contemporary book. Really enjoyed this one. It's set on Tobago, and it's about a main character whose best friend joined a boy band and left to go to the US, and then he comes back with his bandmates and she has to give them tours of the island and like sort of escort them around because they're staying in her father's hotel. And the main character is definitely dealing with like the grief of losing her mother and sort of trying to figure out, even though it's like not a fresh loss, she's trying to figure out like who she can be now that her mother is gone, and she's also reconnecting with her friend and also trying to stay in contact with her current best friend. So there are a lot of layers to it. I really enjoyed it, and I love the setting. I loved reading about Tobago, which is somewhere that I've never been to. I've not really heard much about it, but also the author included a playlist of songs by artists who are originally from Trinidad or Tobago, which was very interesting to me because I didn't know that a lot of these popular songs were by artists from those islands. I really enjoyed this one, gave it 4.5 stars, absolutely fantastic, so I'd highly recommend reading it. Then we have Firekeepers Daughter, which is a book by a Native American author. It's obviously her debut. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I was expecting this to be more YA than it was. It turned out to be more new adult, I would say, in its themes, not like romantic sexy themes, but more like it's a very mature YA book with very mature themes. Death, drug use, drug dealing, all dark and grim stuff. I really enjoyed this one. I would recommend listening to it as an audiobook if you're not familiar with the language used. It really helps me learn how to pronounce certain words that I didn't know how to pronounce before, and if I had just seen them written down I probably wouldn't have figured out how to pronounce them properly. So I'm really glad that I listened to the audiobook. It's quite a chunky book actually, and it kind of went on forever, which is why I docked a star off because it just kept going. It gives a really good insight into certain Native American cultures in the US, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the author brings out next. Finally, we have The Mountains Sing, which I think might have come out last year in the US, but I'm not entirely sure, but it definitely came out this year in the UK. I gave this one 4 stars. This is a multi-generational story set in Vietnam, mostly during the Vietnam War or just before, and it follows a woman and her grandmother dealing with various wars or conflicts in their area. This is something that I've never read about before. I honestly don't know much about the Vietnam War or what it was even over. I knew that the US was involved in it somehow, but that's literally it. It's not something that's taught in our history classes here in the UK. But I really enjoyed this one, and this is one that I really want to reread because it's told in such a gripping writing style. I think it would A, be really quick to reread, and also B, I think I may have missed some things. I may have missed some things from not knowing the history surrounding it, so I think what I would like to do is read some non-fiction books about the Vietnam War, preferably by Vietnamese people, and then reread this book to see how it then compares or holds up. So those are my favourite debut books of 2021. There were some incredible debuts releasing this year, and I'm so pleased that I got to check some of them out. I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated debuts for 2022 soon, so please subscribe if you are interested in that. There are quite a few of them. I'm really excited for next year and its releases. I'm also excited to check out some more debut books from this year that I haven't gotten around to yet, to continue to support these debut authors. So thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what your favourite debut of the year was in the comments below, and I'll speak to you all in my next Bookmas video. Bye!